Throughout history, whispers of shadowy cabals, secret councils, and clandestine alliances have gripped the public imagination. These tales often point to an enigmatic elite working behind the scenes, orchestrating events and influencing governments, economies, and societies to align with their vision of a global order. Whether dismissed as mere conspiracy theories or taken as ominous warnings, the idea of a hidden architect manipulating the world's trajectory is a topic that continues to intrigue and alarm. In exploring the narrative of these supposed hidden architects, we delve into the intersection of myth, reality, and the power dynamics that shape our interconnected world. The term New World Order, NWO, has long been a lightning rod for speculation, blending historical events, geopolitical realities, and elements of fiction. Its origins trace back to the early 20th century, when the devastation of World War I and II prompted global leaders to envision a system that could prevent such catastrophic conflicts. Institutions like the League of Nations and, later, the United Nations were established to foster international cooperation and maintain peace. However, these initiatives also sparked fears that sovereignty would be eroded in favor of a centralized, supranational authority. The Cold War era added fuel to these anxieties, with both capitalist and communist blocs accusing each other of seeking world domination. Terms like Illuminati, Bilderberg Group, and Trilateral Commission entered public discourse, often shrouded in mystery and suspicion. These organizations, composed of influential figures from politics, business, and academia, were said to operate in secrecy, hatching plans to create a unified global government. While proponents of these theories cite instances of wealth concentration and political collusion as evidence, skeptics argue that such claims often lack substantiated proof and serve as scapegoats for complex socio-economic issues. At the heart of the New World Order narrative lies the question, who are the architects crafting this alleged global blueprint? Proponents point to a roster of elites, wealthy dynasties like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, influential think tanks like the Council on Foreign Relations, and secretive gatherings such as the annual Bilderberg Conference. Each of these entities is said to wield disproportionate influence, steering public policies and economic trends to align with their long-term objectives. The financial sector often occupies a central role in these narratives. International institutions like the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, IMF, and central banks are accused of perpetuating economic systems that consolidate wealth and control in the hands of a few. Critics argue that mechanisms like structural adjustment programs and global trade agreements disproportionately benefit developed nations and multinational corporations, often at the expense of smaller or developing economies. This dynamic fuels claims that a financial oligarchy is systematically reshaping global governance to suit its interests. Another focal point is the tech industry, with its rapid advancements and widespread adoption of digital infrastructure. The digital revolution has empowered corporations to collect unprecedented amounts of data, raising concerns about surveillance and social engineering. Companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, which influence billions of lives, are often viewed as tools in a broader agenda to centralize power through technology. In this context, emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain are seen as both tools of liberation and potential instruments of control, depending on whose hands they fall into. Globalization has been a double-edged sword in the discourse surrounding the New World Order. On the one hand, it has brought unprecedented levels of economic interconnectivity, cultural exchange, and technological progress. On the other hand, it has exacerbated income inequality, eroded local cultures, and concentrated power within a small cadre of transnational actors. This duality fuels the perception that globalization is a carefully orchestrated strategy by hidden architects to consolidate control. The increasing reliance on multinational corporations and international institutions has weakened traditional nation-states' authority, giving rise to the perception that these entities answer to no one but themselves. Trade agreements like NAFTA or partnerships like the European Union, while beneficial in some respects, are criticized for transferring decision-making power away from local governments. This creates a sense of disenfranchisement among ordinary citizens who often view these developments as the machinations of distant elites. Moreover, global crises, be they financial collapses, pandemics, or climate change, are seen as opportunities for these architects to advance their agenda. The concept of order out of chaos frequently surfaces in this narrative, suggesting that periods of instability are exploited to introduce sweeping reforms that centralize authority. For example, initiatives like the Great Reset, proposed by the World Economic Forum during the COVID-19 pandemic, have sparked intense debate. While its proponents advocate for rebuilding economies in a more equitable and sustainable way, critics perceive it as a veiled attempt to impose a global technocratic regime. No exploration of the New World Order would be complete without delving into the role of secret societies. Groups like the Freemasons, the Illuminati, and the Skull and Bones Society are often accused of being the masterminds behind the scenes. These organizations, with their rituals, hierarchies, and exclusivity, provide fertile ground for speculation. The Freemasons, one of the oldest and most well-known fraternal organizations, have been linked to everything from the founding of the United States to the construction of international financial systems. While much of this is mythologized, the organization's historical influence on architecture, philosophy, and governance is undeniable. Similarly, the Illuminati, originally an 18th-century Bavarian secret society, has been repurposed in modern conspiracies as an all-powerful entity controlling world events. Groups like the Skull and Bones, based at Yale University, are seen as grooming grounds for future leaders who perpetuate the elite's agenda. While evidence of direct control by these societies is scant, their mystique perpetuates the idea that unseen forces shape global governance. The secrecy surrounding their activities, whether for tradition, privacy, or exclusivity, only amplifies suspicions. Despite the allure of these narratives, critics argue that they oversimplify the complexity of power dynamics. Global governance is not a monolith, but a fragmented web of competing interests, ideologies, and agendas. While elites undoubtedly wield significant influence, attributing all global developments to a coordinated conspiracy underestimates the chaotic and unpredictable nature of human affairs. Furthermore, many of the hidden architects identified in these theories operate in plain sight. Organizations like the United Nations, World Economic Forum, and IMF publish detailed reports and host public forums outlining their initiatives. While their policies may be controversial or flawed, they are not inherently secretive. Transparency, however, does not preclude accountability, and critics are justified in demanding greater scrutiny of these entities' actions and impacts. Understanding the persistence of New World Order narratives also requires examining their psychological appeal. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures, and conspiracy theories offer a sense of order and explanation in an often chaotic world. They provide a clear narrative with villains, victims, and a grand plan, making complex geopolitical and socio-economic phenomena easier to grasp. These theories also tap into a deep-seated distrust of authority, fueled by historical examples of real conspiracies and abuses of power. Events like Watergate, the Tuskegee syphilis study, and the Iraq War's false pretenses have demonstrated that governments and elites are capable of deceit. This creates fertile ground for skepticism, which, when unchecked, can spiral into paranoia. As we navigate the 21st century, the discourse surrounding the New World Order is unlikely to fade. Global challenges like climate change, artificial intelligence, and pandemics will require unprecedented levels of coordination and cooperation, which can easily be framed as steps toward centralization. Initiatives like digital currencies, biometric identification, and social credit systems, while offering convenience and security, also raise valid concerns about privacy and autonomy. The key to addressing these fears lies in fostering transparency, accountability, and citizen engagement. Empowering individuals to participate in governance and decision-making processes can help demystify global institutions and reduce the perception of hidden agendas. Similarly, promoting media literacy and critical thinking can counter the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories. The narrative of hidden architects crafting a new world order encapsulates humanity's enduring fascination with power, secrecy, and control. Whether viewed as a cautionary tale or a compelling myth, it reflects our collective anxieties about the future of governance in an increasingly interconnected world. By examining the roots and implications of this narrative, we can better understand the dynamics shaping our global society and work toward a future where governance is guided by transparency, equity, and inclusion rather than secrecy and suspicion.